Coming up, we're going viral. Join us as we dissect Faces of Death. Stay tuned.
I've been seeing these videos, all based off this old horror movie called Faces of Death. Do you think this could be real executions?
Leave it up. Support the trend.
Welcome to the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. And we are your hosts, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. Before we get started, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, that thumbs up, and that bell. That way you know when all these videos are dropping. Tex, how we doing today, dude?
Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Arturo. Buddies. Okay, this is one of those that, so Faces of Death. This is certainly an interesting movie to cover because this is one of those that it's a reboot of a brand that necessarily isn't like a big brand that you would normally say. It's not like you don't say Faces of Death like stands in the same lines as like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, you know what I mean, of like big horror icons. But in a way, it kind of is. And the only way to truly explain this, buddies at home, is to kind of like to send you way back in time of like the VHS era. This is Faces of Death. I'm sure buddies at home, if you're around Arturo and I's age, or you might remember going to a sleepover to a friend's house, or like hanging out with your cousin or something, and then like either hearing about Faces of Death or getting to actually see it for yourself. Arturo, in my situation, mine was at a sleepover at a friend's house, and it was a bunch of us dudes there. We were like, he was like, I've got Faces of Death. I don't remember which one it was, but like the video, like these videos had like images of people dying. Like it was like it's stuff that unfortunately is everywhere now. And we'll get into that. We'll get into the rebooted stuff, but kind of setting the table. These videos were kind of like it was touted as like these are real images of real things happening and real deaths, and it was just gruesome deaths in various different ways. I don't know about you, Arturo. Like, what do you have an early Faces of Death experience?
Oh yeah, 100%. Every horror fan definitely has their Faces of Death experience. Mine was with my cousin. Big shout out to my cousin Jay. We were dying to watch this thing, and I was hanging out at his crib, right? And we got our hands on a copy of Faces of Death, and watched it. It was Faces of Death was rotten.com before there was rotten.com.
It was.
So it had all that crazy real life gore that people love to see, I guess, right?
This was unfortunately this is pre-internet. It really was like an urban legend kind of release where but also it really wasn't when you think about it. Like, no, they made a bunch of these, like they were in video stores and stuff like that, but like pre-internet, it really did feel like one of those movies that like you heard about. It wasn't like it wasn't like when you see a movie collection at someone's house that you kind of like, if you saw like Puppet Master, you'd be like, oh, I could buy that's a movie, right? But like Faces of Death was like, it felt like something else altogether. So all these years later, we've gotten a reboot. I believe it's been sitting on the shelf in terms of release for a couple of years. Just by looking at just some of the details in this reboot, but it's a full reboot of the Faces of Death idea, and it kind of has a little mountain to climb already. Just like it's like, well, how do you do it? How do you even reboot a thing that was essentially just clips of people dying in gruesome ways? And the movie found a way. So
they figured it out.
Just getting into it real quick little summary of the story. You've got a killer posting these Faces Death remake video, like they're remaking Faces of Death segments
Yes.
with real people and real deaths and submitting them on this social media site called Kino, which is basically like the stand-in for, the TikTok or whatever, like Instagram, whatever social media feed you want to use. And this person's going viral. And on the other hand of this, you have Margot, who works for Kino as someone who watches these videos and kind of flags them for, basically all this stuff like the content prevention,
Yeah.
like, and so in the midst of seeing that, she sees these videos, thinks they're real, and starts going down a spiral and trying to figure it out because in her past she tried to submit a video to this website that was, they were doing a TikTok dance on some train tracks and it led to the death of her sister, and because of that she's gone viral for that sense, so she's famous to people for that, unfortunately. But her being a content moderator for the website is her way of trying to like make
Make a
up.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, on the other hand of the story, you get to see the killer doing what he's doing. You have Dr. Montgomery as Arthur, and he's kind of just living his life, like trying to bring all these videos to life and kidnapping his favorite social media stars in order to do so. And that's the movie. And I what are you thinking, Arturo? Like
Um,
just
I'm mixed.
diving in here. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm mixed with this movie, honestly. On paper, everything looks kosher, right? Everything
yeah,
looks like it should kind of click. Um, it doesn't 100%. And that's not the actor's fault. It's not Barbie's fault or Dacre's fault. I think their supporting cast and the story and
yeah,
direction is what kind of faults them, honestly. Back to Dacre Montgomery, I think there was something special there. I think if
yeah,
the direction was a little better and the story around him was better, the vision was better, I think it could have been something very special because you get glimpses of him understanding exactly what he needs to do, understanding his role in this universe and executing to a way where you're like, that's Dacre Montgomery. Because as you guys have seen him in Stranger Things as Billy, he's even done a Power Ranger stint, but every time he's on screen, the man knows what he's doing. He's a
yeah.
very good actor. He has
He's
a
got
very
the
good
juice,
range.
man.
Yeah,
He's got the
absolutely.
juice.
And you see that juice here, but you get it too little, too late. And that's my problem with this movie ultimately is that we get the good stuff too late in the movie for it to really kind of hit home. Again, the premise is very interesting. As Tex mentioned, you have Dacre Montgomery, who plays Arthur Spivey, I believe his name is. He's the killer. He's interested in recreating the segments of Faces of Death with his, with influencers that are, viral at the moment. And on paper, that sounds good. I wish they would have done a little bit more in terms of artistic vision here, because there are moments here that would benefit a lot from different kinds of lighting, a different kind of camera technique, a different kind of shooting perspective. Everything is very kind of just straightforward.
Yeah, because
And that's a
he
little bothersome because even the nature of Dacre's character of Arthur, he's very unhinged, and I wish the camera would play with that a lot more, Tex.
yeah, because it's such a cool idea for a serial killer, right?
Mhm.
Like it's he is a social media influencer killer, basically. He's not only kidnapping and taking these people, but like he's doing this stuff to get viral attention on this social media platform. And like at one point he's like throwing acid on a body and like live streaming it. And it's like, yeah, it's a cool idea because
Yeah.
it's like
It's
it's
like,
like yeah,
"Whoa."
yeah, it's just, and like visually, like Arturo said, like he like the it's a cool visual, like everything about him is just cool, and Dr. Montgomery's really like putting his effort into it.
Yeah.
And the ideas once again for this killer are super neat because like in recreating the Faces of Death segments, he's like using mannequins as like stand-ins for the other people like in these video segments. And like everything's set up in it like in the basement of his house, so like it's all just within the house. And I think that's where Arturo's right, where like it seems so dynamic in the way he's recreating these segments, but like that's I guess for that's where the fault of the movie is, where it's like it's kind of too into Faces of Death, like, which is kind of weird, right, to say about a reboot, where it's like it's like faithful to that degree of like,
Yes, but if that were the case, though, I think we would get a little bit more artistic vision. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
of the age of
yeah,
Faces of Death, it would have been cool if it would have been some kind of grain on the film when we got to Dacre, or I don't know, but I just feel like there were some artistic things that could have been done to amplify the tension and the suspense because as I mentioned, everything is shot pretty straightforward. The lighting is straightforward. There's a lot of daytime scenes here, which again, that's cool
he
because it shows that
he
he doesn't
does,
care about
yeah,
time of day.
he is doing stuff in broad
In
daylight,
broad daylight.
like towards the end, like in the second third act, he's like chasing at, like he has a sniper rifle like right outside his window, broad daylight. The victim is running away, and what's cool Dacre Montgomery stuff, he's like pulling out like he has a red contact lens and he pulls one out so he can use the sniper rifle, but broad daylight. This is all like, and he kidnaps someone in broad daylight, and he's like going to these like great stuff for a killer, right? These is just great moves. But then, like you're saying, Arturo, that it also kind of unfortunately emphasizes the technical aspect of like,
Yes.
oh, working within a limited budget. Like you're doing cool stuff in story to like make up for that fact, but then like you unfortunately also have to use half the story on stuff that's just not as compelling. Like, on the other half of it, you have the Margot side, like Margot herself, she's going through her own stuff, going through the content moderation, discovering what like these videos, and like through that she also has to research Faces of Death. Like in universe, Faces of Death is a real thing. On the internet, people know about it. Her roommate's a horror expert who knows about it, so they have to
He has a
say,
copy.
yeah, has a copy of the VHS. Like, so like there's a little bit like it kind of falls under its own, like it falls under its own weight of like trying to be a remake and kind of doing that, because then it doubles down in the third act where it gets the most interesting, which is what Arturo alluded to in the beginning of full spoilers for the third act, where like Margot fully confronts Arthur, and like through the film they're separated in their own things until Arthur decides to kidnap Margot and drive like 8 hours in order to kidnap her. Great, great killer move, by the way.
Yeah,
This is just
absolutely.
cool. Like, great idea. Like, these are once again great ideas. And then at the end, we get the full fight between the two. They get super bloody, but then also gets Arthur's explanation of why he's doing it. And he's remaking because remakes are the only thing getting attention now. And like that was able to convey everything they got without having to do the whole let's go into the original Faces of Death and fully explain it and fully, you know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
that's
100%
where it
agree.
feels limiting, where it's like it's too adherent to that old Faces of Death. Like it's
Yeah,
too focused on that original collection itself
that's
rather than what
that's
it
the
represents,
downfall of it, right?
right?
Because I
Yes.
think as you mentioned, it does make its point across very well in that third act. It also makes its point across with the videos that she's monitoring, right? Like we didn't
Yeah.
have to get too deep into the weeds of it until we kind of wanted to know more about Arthur
Yeah.
and his method. But like in terms of getting so into Faces of Death, I think you're absolutely right on that. You hit the nail on the head. Like, I think because she catches these videos as she's content moderating and we see these videos, I think that's enough for us to be like, okay, cool, we understand it. And then I think that one explanation of just comparing the two scenes, it's like, okay, cool, they're recreating these things. So let's
Right.
move on. But as you mentioned, it kind of gets bogged down because it's trying to um capture something from the original, but it's like, no, dude, you have your story here and it's better. It's actually
Yeah,
decent
you have
here, you
you have a
know?
better story getting the
Yes.
idea across that this was a viral video before viral videos were a thing. And it was a viral video because it's grotesque, right? And you're like, you have that theme in the movie, and you have your villain outright saying this, like at the end of like, this is what people want to see. This is like,
Mhm.
and because of that, that's where your point gets across, right, Arturo? Where it's like you by that point, we've already seen the whole faces of death explanation and all that stuff, and kind of like we've seen the movie characters talk about that whole movie. Where it's like, no, that time could have been better spent just watching Arthur do more of this stuff. Like,
Yeah, like, dude, there's this moment where she's like, "Oh, let me see if my roommate has Faces of Death," and she puts it on, but then we sit there with her, just fast forwarding through everything, and I'm
yeah,
like, "Why did you even put it on if you're gonna just fast forward through everything?" And again, we could have you didn't have to spend that much time with her. You could have shown her like putting in the scene, right?
yeah,
And then like a cut to Arthur doing something and cut back to her watching it and interlace those segments. That way you get stuff done in the movie. We're
yeah,
just sitting with her, fast forwarding through a thing, which is very annoying because I'm like, just watch it, bro.
yeah.
And she's
Because if it's because she's looking for like the scenes in
yes,
particular, and
yes,
it's like, it's like, but you wouldn't really know how this movie works, right? You wouldn't know how this compilation of clips really works.
yeah. That's
I,
why
I
I think you would have to just put the movie and sit there and just watch it, you know?
yeah,
And then, like, if they were smart, they would have been like, "Oh, have the scene appear like early on." You know what I mean? Like instead of having to show her fast forward through all these like gore, but it's their way again of hammering us over the head about, "Hey, faces of death. Look how much, death there was here as she has to fast forward through this thing." But it gets lost a little bit, the
yeah,
impact of that. And I feel that this movie does a terrible job of building suspense and tension, especially when you have a character and an actor like Dacre Montgomery and a character like Arthur, who is so meticulous about his plan, who's so precise about what he's doing that like we're wasting a lot of time not staying with him. Like I
yeah,
understand we want to show Barbie Ferrera's character, her trauma, her character arc, cool. I get it. She does become a final girl at the end over there of Act 3, but again, the most interesting part of this movie was when we cut the fat out, right? And we get to Margot like getting down to business, like just completing her character arc, realizing, hey, like, oh, why is nobody listening to me? This is real, blah, 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 blah. But we waste so much time um getting to their confrontation and their one-on-one.
yeah.
Um
It sucks too
that
because
it's
it's a good fight. It's a good
Yes,
scene.
I was
It's
just
a
getting
good
there too,
moment
that,
too.
like,
Yeah,
once he captures her and we get into his house, we're like, "Okay." N That's when the movie becomes interesting. When she escapes, she goes to the cops, he does this whole, "Oh, this woman's trying to stalk me or harass me." It's like, that's the cool stuff, you know? But we spend so much time with Barbie's character and her roommate, and, like, I feel that that stuff could have been compressed a little bit to get more of Dacre Montgomery's character, Tex.
yeah, because you have such a cool character, and you have such an actor who's like really going for it, and like it sucks because you get some of that physicality in, like, aesthetically he looks good too, like the whole mannequin gimmick for the killer is so interesting because like you see him wear a body stocking to
Mhm.
where like it covers his body, and like it's so neat. These are
It's very
so cool
Cobra of him,
ideas.
right?
Yeah. And like, and at the end when he kills people, he like uses their head he puts their heads on the mannequins. Cool idea, great visual, cool gore, like very bloody.
Yeah.
And like when he finally goes fully unhinged at the end, you're like, ah, wish we would have got more of
Yeah,
that,
he's a
right?
sick,
Wish
sick individual, man, a sick individual. And that last fight scene that we get is awesome. I think
yeah,
the physicality there, you mentioned it, Tex, is on point. We get Barbie Ferreira, Margot using this little knife lipstick, like a lipstick a knife that's inside a lipstick that she got from her roommate, and she goes to town. Like I love how she doesn't just stab him once; she just continues. Like this is why I'm a little disappointed overall with this movie because her character truly understands what being in a bad situation is like, and it shows her um being active, showing action on the screen, being non-complacent, not taking whatever this guy's throwing at her. You know what I mean? She's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna survive this because my mission here, my character arc, damn it, is to help people, you know?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think she does a good job with her character in Act 3. But like I said, she's surrounded with so much fluff in the beginning with her job. Charlie XCX is in this movie as well.
Yeah, and it's really
Terrible
bad.
actress as well.
Yeah.
Like, she gets too much screen time for a person who doesn't matter at all. And
Yeah.
the same could have been accomplished with extras or just with her boss.
Yeah,
And it's a lot of
you're
fluff in the
right. You're
beginning. Yeah.
totally right. There's a lot of fluff when like the interesting stuff seems so few and far in between, and that's ultimately the shame, right? It's like, we when we see Dr. Montgomery, we only see him like kidnap like two people, and then the second one, it was like, oh, he got a third person as a bonus, and it's like, you know. I wish we could have had more because those scenes were also very interesting of like how he pulled off like a home invasion or how he like took someone from a very public gym bathroom of like, yeah, in the middle of the day, and it's like, yeah, you're right. And then when it gets to the end, the final confrontation, it hits a little goofy because you're seeing sides of both of their personalities that were kind of hinted at or teased before. So like when they're both getting unhinged at the end, it's like, I don't know if that fully lands. But so with all that being said, Arturo, here's how we do it at the Morgue, right? We have our scale of pay for it, which is go out to theaters, pay for it, or see it on streaming services, pay for your streaming service to see it as soon as possible. There's wait for it, which is, you don't have to see it right away. You can wait till it's more convenient for you. You're not missing out too much by not seeing it immediately. Then there's stay away from it, which is don't see it at all. You're not going to miss anything. You don't need to see it. So, Arturo, on our scale here of the Morgue, of pay for it, wait for it, or stay away from it, what say you about Faces of Death?
Oh man. I remember Tex when I sat down to watch this movie and the credits started rolling and there was that ding ding from Shutter. And I was like, this is exactly where it should be, folks. This is a wait for it for me. It's a wait for it simply because of Dacre Montgomery. His performance, I think, is um really good. I hate that he doesn't get more to do because he deserves it. They should have leaned on him a lot more, and not as much as they did with Barbie. They gave her, I think, too much to do in this movie, and I don't think her her presence could handle the the weight of all the obstacles given to her. I feel that if the movie had leaned more on Dacre as its focus, I think Barbie would have shined more as well because she wasn't a detriment, but I feel that her character building and direction was a detriment to her and her character. But all that said, folks, it's a wait for it. You can wait until this thing drops on Shutter and watch it in the comfort of your own home. Tex, what say you about Faces of Death?
I'm going to agree. I'm also going to say wait for it because like it's got a lot of cool ideas. It's got good violence in it, and it's got like, and if you loved Faces of Death as a brand, then hey, here's another one with like the branding on it, and it's you can't say that it's not a love letter to the Faces of Death original clips because like it goes really
It's
all
probably
into
the
it.
only love letter out there, Tex.
Yeah, it's gonna be the only one for a while at this case. It's a wait for it, but check it out. Once again, I agree with Arturo. I hope Dr. Montgomery gets more in the future. Like that dude's got something, man. It's a shame Power Rangers didn't work out, like because like that probably killed any of the wind of his sails in terms of like being a young actor, like getting out
Yeah.
there, right? Like if it paid off, that would have been the franchise that allowed him to be a name player, right? Like to be
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
but after Stranger Things and after this year too, it's like he's got something. He's got that it factor that like he's got talent, dude. I
We
really
see
want to
it,
see him.
Tex. We see
Yeah.
it here, Tex. Buddies at home, let us know in the comments below if you see the talent that Dacre Montgomery has. Let us know as well in the comments if you've seen the original Faces of Death.
I
How
know.
you
What are your memories? Yeah.
What are your memories? How did you encounter it? Let us know if you've seen this movie and what you think about it. Thank you so much for listening. This has been The Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. We are your hosts, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. A big shout out goes to you guys out there for listening and for watching. We have all of these episodes up on YouTube at anywhere you get your podcast streams. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, like, share, 5-star reviews, all that good stuff. We'd highly appreciate it. Big shout out goes to Del Virus for all the artwork you've seen in front of you throughout the years. And last but not least, buddies, always remember it is a scary world out there, especially on this internet, man. But we are here to walk you through it.